Hey y'all, I'm Mandy and this is Mandy in the Making. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another best of winter dinners where we're going to share our top 5 favorite dinners over the last several months. If you are new here, I do cooking content all of the time, so be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave if you're always looking for new dinner inspiration. Typically at the end of each quarter, I go back through all of the recipes that we've shared on the channel and we choose our top 5 from that quarter. Now I did not do one at the end of the last year, so 2021, and now really we've kind of already gone through the first quarter of 2022. So this is going to be all of our favorite dinners from October 2021 through February of 2022. And I have to tell you, it was hard to narrow it down to just 5, especially since it was 5 months that we were going through. We had some really great dinners that we shared with y'all. It was hard to pick, and there was one that is a favorite, but we just shared it last week, so go check that out. I'll have it linked below. It was the honey jalapeno pork chops. That would have ended up in our top 5 had we not just shared it last week, and it was a subby supper, so go check that one out too. There's a bonus one for you. We're gonna start with number 5 and move all the way up to number 1, but our 5th favorite was a Crockpot Swiss steak. It was a cubed steak cooked in a tomato-based sauce, and it was so delicious. We really enjoyed it. Here you go. Okay, not a whole lot of chopping. I'm gonna chop up this onion, 1 stalk of celery, these couple of carrots, and we are gonna just slice. We're not gonna mince our garlic. So the first thing we're gonna do is just add all of our veggies to the bottom of the slow cooker. I did use a liner. You don't have to, obviously. This helps with cleanup. Makes it that much easier. Okay, so I've got a little bit of flour in here, and then I've got 4 cubed steaks. I dropped a little bit of flour on there. And then I have a cat, Gracie Lou. I'm just going to season these with salt and pepper and put them in the flour, just coat them. And we're gonna go over to the stove and just sear these on both sides. Okay, I could only fit 3 in here at one time. You don't want to overcrowd it, but I'm just going to let them sear on each side for a couple of minutes, and then I'll do our last one, and then we'll go back over to the crock pot. I like the spinning pot over here. Trying to do this one-handed and hold a camera is not the easiest. There we go. Okay, so the recipe calls for white wine, but I'm just going to use extra beef broth. I didn't want to get wine just for that. But I've removed all of my steaks here, and I've just got some really good bits on the bottom there. I'm going to deglaze this pan, and then we're going to go over the crock. So I'm just scraping up any little bits here off the bottom. Went ahead and turned the pan off. Okay, let's go do this. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is add our steaks in, our cubed steaks. They are obviously not all the way cooked. Now let's add in our beef broth that we used to deglaze the pan. And the recipe calls for 1 cup of beef broth and a 1/2 cup of white wine. So I'm just doing this whole can of beef broth because it's about 1.5 cups. Now I'm gonna add in a can of tomato soup. You could definitely just use diced tomatoes. But if you've been around for a while, you may or may not know that Cole, my son, does not really like the texture of diced tomatoes. And so I saw this in the notes that if you want a creamier sauce, you could just use tomato soup. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna add in just a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste, about a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, a tablespoon of the Dub sauce, and we're just gonna finish it up with a little more salt and pepper. And that's it. We are gonna put the lid on this and cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours, or you could do on high for 4 to 5 hours. I'm actually gonna do it on high for about an hour, and then I'm gonna come in and change it over to low because it's already lunchtime a little after. So I just wanna make sure all of our veggies get soft enough. Okay, one other thing is tonight when we open this up and take a look at it, I'm gonna see whether we need to add like a cornstarch slurry to it to thicken it up a little bit. It's optional.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I don't know if I've ever had anything quite like this before.
Yeah.
Wow. That sauce is really, really, really good.
Is it?
Yeah, the meat is like fall apart.
Yeah.
With that gravy, that's special.
Well, I was just really happy that it was as thick as it was, that I didn't have to add any cornstarch to it. That's a whole other step that I got to skip. But
some sort of tomato base, I guess?
Yeah, it's got tomato soup actually in there.
Oh, okay.
And tomato paste.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's really good. It's definitely a unique gravy.
Yeah.
That you would put on a steak.
Yeah, it's a tomato base.
But it works really well, I think, because of how you cook it in the crock pot all day long.
Yeah.
So everything's falling apart, and it's just, oh man, it's just coming together.
Well, I'm so happy. Mm-hmm. So Cole is busy eating, and so is Steven. And then I sat down and finally got a few bites, and this is really good. Steven just keeps commenting about how this gravy is just so different, and it is, but it works so well. I'd say it was a success.
It was really good. It was very unique.
It is very unique. Gracie, what do you think? Yeah, I'm really digging this. And then of course I'm digging the green bean casserole because it's my favorite ever. Okay, in the number 4 spot was one of our favorites called Greek chicken bowls. They were so good. Even Cole loved it, and he's not the biggest fan of Greek chicken. I've made several different variations, and Cole, my 17-year-old son, he loved it as well. So this one was definitely a favorite, and we cannot wait to have it again. Tonight we are having Greek chicken bowls. This would be a great thing for you to prep at the beginning of the week and just fix them as you're going to eat them. But we're really excited. We love the Greek flavors. We love feta cheese. This has both. Let's get started. First, we're gonna start by marinating the chicken. We're gonna let it sit in the refrigerator for probably 30 to 45 minutes. Here's all of our ingredients. I've already added 3 pretty small chicken breasts to this bag. Let's add all the ingredients in. We're gonna start with just a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Next, we need the juice of 1 lemon, about 3 tablespoons worth of juice. I'm not too worried if the seeds get in here. A tablespoon of white wine vinegar. I've got some seasonings here, about 2 tablespoons of oregano, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half a teaspoon of thyme, and then about a half a teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Let's close this up and just massage it all in, and then we'll put it in the refrigerator, and it'll be ready in just a little while for us to cook. We're gonna get started on chopping up the ingredients for our cucumber salad that goes with our Greek chicken bowls. So the only things I really need to chop up are right here. 4 Roma tomatoes. We only need like 1/4 cup of red onion, so maybe even half of this half of a red onion. And then this English cucumber. So I am gonna cut my Kalamata olives in half. I've got a good handful here. I may get a few more, just depending. We love Kalamata olives, but if you don't love them, you could leave them out, or you could even do black olives. I forgot we had some roasted red peppers in our fridge, so I'm gonna add those to this as well. I think they'll taste really, really good in this. We're gonna add in some feta cheese. I think it calls for a half a cup. I'm just gonna kind of go with it. We love feta cheese. We need a tablespoon of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. Here I've got a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of oregano, and a 1/4 teaspoon of dried dillweed. And I'm adding half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm just gonna toss all of this and stick it in the fridge. Now we're just gonna make our rice in the Instant Pot. I've got jasmine rice here. I'm gonna do a cup of it. I'm gonna go rinse this really well until the water runs clear. Okay, let's add that into our Instant Pot. I'm also adding 1 cup of water. And we are gonna pressure cook this for 3 minutes on high, and then I will let it naturally release for about 10 minutes, and we should be good. So it's been about an hour. This has had plenty of time to marinate. I'm gonna remove the chicken from the bag, and we are going to blot it with a paper towel just to get the excess off. We don't want it to too much marinade on it when we put it in a hot skillet. Okay, this skillet is heated to medium heat. I'm gonna add just about a tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, we are gonna cook this until they are completely done. I've got one that's a little bit thicker than the other two, so I'll probably have to remove the other two first. But you just wanna cook it until the internal temperature is 165, and then we'll let them rest for a little bit before we slice them to go in our Greek bowls. Cole's already into it over there.
I am excited about this. Oh man, it just smells. It got that Greek seasoning smell to it. Oh man, I'm so excited.
He was not in the kitchen for the making of this. Neither was Cole, so they have no clue.
Wow. Man, there's a lot of flavor in this. It is the perfect Greek salad.
Yep.
I mean, if you can call it a salad, I guess you can. Because
yeah, I mean, it's got a cucumber salad in there, but it's also got the rice.
This is exactly what you would expect with the Greek seasonings and everything in there. One of our favorite restaurants that has the Greek salad tastes just like this.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good.
Okay, Cole won't slow down over there. Like, he's shoveling it in his mouth, so. Oh, we get a face too, y'all. We get a face.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
You know it's good if Cole comes on camera. I'm just saying.
And I'm not a fan of rice.
Right?
This just,
But you love the rice with this.
it's amazing.
Look at that. He's almost done. Okay. That means it's time for me to eat. This is one of my favorite meals I've made in a very long time. Right.
Yes.
Right. This is so good.
This is going to be in a favorites video. You can guarantee that.
This is so good. I only have one regret, and that's that I didn't make more. Oh, I should have made more. Wow. In the number 3 spot, we really kind of battled with number 3 and number 2. But in the number 3 spot, we're going to say this was the ground beef Mongolian noodles. This was a huge hit in our house, both in taste and flavor and in how quick it was to make. So simple, so good. Enjoy. This meal is going to take 15 to 20 minutes to make. It is Mongolian beef noodles using ground beef. To get started, I'm just gonna add a pound of ground beef to this large skillet that has the high sides. I've got this heated to medium high. And I've got this large pot of water boiling. I'm not gonna add any salt to it, but we are going to cook about 10 ounces of linguine noodles in here, and we'll drain those and add them to our ground beef mixture in just a bit. Our ground beef is almost done cooking, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in our ginger. We're gonna add in around 4 teaspoons of ginger paste, and we're gonna be adding a lot of garlic, probably about the amount of 6 cloves. Now we're just gonna let the beef cook the remainder of the way, along with this ginger and garlic. Okay, my ground beef is done, and it is extremely lean, so I don't have to worry about draining it. If you had a lot of fat, go ahead and drain yours at this point. Now I'm going to add in a half a cup of low sodium soy sauce and a half a cup of beef broth. We need a half a cup of brown sugar. This is a 1/4 cup, so I'm going to add 2 of these. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon each of black pepper and some crushed red pepper. You could definitely leave that crushed red pepper out if you don't like spicy. Lastly, I'm going to add in 4 tablespoons of hoisin sauce. Our noodles are done. Let's go drain them. I'm gonna make a cornstarch slurry to thicken our sauce. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. Let's add our cornstarch slurry to our sauce. We're gonna stir it to combine and wait for it to thicken up just a little bit. Our sauce has thickened, so let's add our noodles in. I'm gonna turn the heat down as well to low. And we're just going to stir this and combine it, get the noodles really coated in the sauce. And then it's gonna be time to eat.
Oh, this smells incredible.
He was not in there for the making of this, so he has no idea.
I don't know.
He's gonna love it though.
Man, I can just tell these noodles are coated really good.
Yup.
Man, that is so good. And the flavors that are in that.
Right.
You got ginger in this?
Yes.
You got garlic in this?
Yes.
Soy sauce. There's something sugary in it. There's some sweetness.
There's brown sugar.
Put spice in there too. I'm getting a
I
little
put
heat.
some red pepper flakes.
Okay.
And I put some hoisin sauce in there too.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Well, that definitely made it a little more authentic too, that hoisin sauce. But man, the flavors in these noodles, that is incredible. That's really good.
Mr. Chopsticks over there. 15-minute meal, what you think?
Worth every minute. That's what I think.
All right, I'm gonna dig in. Cole isn't here, so he can't give us his opinion. His seat is empty. But this is really not his type of meal anyway, so it was perfect that I made it when he wasn't here. This is better than takeout. Y'all should definitely give this a try. Our top two both were made in the Instant Pot, but I'm sure you can make them also on the stovetop or in the crock pot. You would just have to change it up a little bit. But number two is the killer white chicken chili in the Instant Pot. The best white chicken chili I have ever made, and I've made a lot of recipes for that. We've tried many different ones. This is the only one I'll be making from now on. Before we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my Instant Pot to saute and let that be heating up. Our Instant Pot says that it's hot. We're gonna drop in a couple of tablespoons of butter and let that melt. I did want to mention I am cutting this recipe in half, so I'm not going to give you all the exact measurements because some of them are kind of weird because I've cut it in half. But if you're looking for the recipe, it's always linked in the description box below, right below the video. Now I'm going to add in my celery and my onion. And we're going to saute this for just about 3 or 4 minutes just to kind of soften it up. Now we're going to add in our seasonings. In here I've got some oregano, some white pepper, some salt, garlic powder, cumin, and smoked paprika. Now I'm gonna pour in my water. I've got 2.5 cups here. And I'm just gonna scrape the bottom just to make sure. I don't think anything is sticking, but you never wanna have anything sticking on the bottom of your Instant Pot because you'll get that burn notice. I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon of this Better Than Bouillon chicken base. And we're gonna go ahead and hit cancel. Now, I have some navy beans that I did an overnight soak on. I will go back here and show you how I did that. But these are drained and ready to go. So I'm gonna add these in. And I'm adding in boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I've got about 1 pound here. And again, I'm halving everything. Okay, we're gonna use a button I've never used, and that's our soup button. And we're gonna set it to 12 minutes. There we go. Okay, it just finished. We're gonna let it slow release for 10 minutes and then we'll release the rest of the pressure. So I'm gonna wait for this to count up. So it's been counting down. If you're not familiar with Instant Pot, it counted down from 12 down to 0, and now it's gonna count up. I'm gonna let it count up to 10. And once that's done, we'll be ready to add in some more ingredients. Okay, now I'm gonna remove our chicken and we're gonna shred it. I'm just gonna pull it over here to this cutting board. It's falling apart as I'm pulling it out of the Instant Pot, which is always a good sign. I was gonna grab a fork and a knife, but I don't need it. Now we're gonna add this back to our chili. It's Steven's favorite ingredient. It's only 4 ounces.
I think it's gonna be okay though, because those are this thing has some really potent
Yes.
Herbs and spices in there.
I just wanted to chop this up just because it's been sitting out. It's pretty softened already, but just to make it a little bit easier to melt down in there. So let's add in this cream cheese and let that start to melt. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's add in a can of Rotel. The full recipe calls for a full can, so I'm only gonna do about half of it. Gonna add in a cup of salsa verde.
Oh boy, that is looking good.
And lastly, we're gonna add in about a can of corn. I always just use frozen corn. This has been sitting out at room temperature for a while now too. It's not frozen anymore, but it's definitely gonna cool it down. So I'm gonna turn this back over to saute just to start to heat it up really good. Let's just let that warm through and then dinner is ready.
Yes, I'm excited. White chicken chili.
So we love white chicken chili. We got to see if this is the winner of all the ones that we've ever tried, because
Let's see how it's not gonna be. It's gotta be.
The smell is amazing.
That is amazing.
Is it?
That's unlike anything you've ever tasted.
Really?
Yeah, you haven't had anything like this yet.
Oh, I'm excited.
It is like on a whole different galaxy.
Whole different galaxy.
It's a
Y'all
whole.
heard it here.
It's a whole different galaxy away from regular
White chicken chili.
that you get in the little package.
Yeah.
No. Don't ever buy that again. I mean, it's not like spicy hot, but it's just different, kind of a fiery flavor to it.
Okay.
And then the salsa verde gives it a little punch. And then
Probably that
all
Rotel,
the
too.
yeah, the Rotel gives it some of that.
And then that chicken is just super tender. Okay, well, I can't wait any longer. Let's do it. So last night I said it was the best taco salad I've ever had. Hands down, the best white chicken chili I've ever had. Like, I feel like this could win a contest. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it has cream cheese in it.
I mean, it makes it really creamy, the stew.
Yeah.
It gives it more of that creamy.
It's not a whole lot of
creaminess
cream
to it.
cheese. I mean, it's
not
4
at all.
ounces. So,
not at all. I
yeah.
mean, you can see it's still a little soupy, but the consistency is right where you want it to be.
Yeah, the recipe mentioned that if you wanted to thicken it up even more, you could throw some cornstarch in there and turn it back over to saute, but I feel like it's the perfect consistency. It's not too thick, but it's not completely soupy either. Y'all, the flavors on this are just on point. Steven said just a second ago, a lot of times we'll talk about, like, if there's anything we think we could change or whatever. He said, this literally needs nothing done to it. It is perfection. So
Don't change it.
don't change it. Just make it. Best taco salad, now the best white chicken chili. We'll see y'all tomorrow night. So I gave you a little hint and said that our number 1 was another Instant Pot. Do you know which one it is? Drum roll, please. It's the Instant Pot beef tips and gravy. Y'all, it's so good. It is so good and so quick to make. You're gonna love it. If you haven't tried it already, I'm telling you, you need to try this one. So here's all the ingredients we'll need. These were already pre-sliced and pre-washed, which is very helpful. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of stew meat. I thought I had 2 pounds. I had 2 pounds from Butcher Box, but I forgot I already used 1 pound. So we're just gonna go with 1 pound tonight. And I did cut them up into smaller pieces just because the recipe said they will just get a lot more tender if you do that. And yeah, that's it. That's everything. Let's go over here to this guy. So what we're gonna do is just hit saute and let this come up to where it says hot, but I'm also gonna go ahead and add in some olive oil. And I just realized it does not say on the recipe when to add these seasonings, but I'm guessing we need to add them to the meat. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pour these seasonings, which is 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, a half a teaspoon of regular salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Mix that on there, and then we're gonna throw it in here and sear it. My camera guy is back. Okay, so we've got color on all sides. I'm gonna just take it out and put it in a bowl for now. Okay, I'm gonna add in about 1/3 cup of beef broth. And we're gonna go ahead and turn this off, but I'm just gonna deglaze my pan here. Just make sure that there's nothing on the bottom so we don't get that burn notice. Let's add our beef back in. And let's add 1 onion that I've sliced right on top. Top that with our mushrooms. And about a tablespoon of the Dub sauce. Worcestershire.
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 Worcester sauce.
Now, we're gonna pressure cook this for 15 minutes and then we'll let it do a 5-minute slow release. We're gonna whisk together a pack of brown gravy. In the recipe, it said to use one that was 1.6 ounces. This is 0.87. So I have 2 just in case we need it. We're gonna whisk that along with the rest of our beef broth. So we did 1/3 a cup in the Instant Pot already, and that's the other 1/3 a cup there. And we're gonna be adding this into our beef tips here in just a second. Okay, so it's been going for 7 minutes, but we're gonna release the rest of it. Let's turn this back over to saute. And once all of this starts bubbling, we will add in our gravy. And we're gonna bring it back up to a boil. I'm gonna stir it around, and we're just gonna let this thicken for a couple of minutes.
You snuck a bite.
I did, and it's so good.
Actually, I told you to take a bite.
I think that's ready.
That looks good.
It is delicious.
How about some beef stew with mashed potatoes?
How about, it ain't beef stew.
That's not?
No. It's just beef tips and gravy.
How about some beef tips with gravy? With mashed potatoes in there too. Is it good?
It must be good if he's gonna be on camera.
I mean, is it extraordinary?
And he can pick around the mushrooms because he's not a mushroom guy. Now, let's talk about it.
Wow. That is really good.
He had his doubts.
I did. I was skeptical. I was thinking that the meat was not going to get tender like I like it. I'm wrong.
All right.
I was wrong.
Yup. So tender, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And that gravy, man.
I mean, you just cut it like that. I mean, it's just fall apart. Tender. The Instant Pot does not disappoint.
No, it doesn't. He does a good job. He always wants to call it the Instapot. Tell us below, do you call it the Instapot too? It's because of Instagram. That's why. Lou. Honey. Yeah.
Oh, what's an Instagram? I want one.
Another movie quote that we kind of changed just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna eat. I know I already have one bite in there, but man, this is calling my name. Okay, that's gonna wrap it up for today. This little girl was meowing at my feet, so I think she just wanted to come say hey. Say hey. Say, do y'all have cheese for me? Anybody? She always puts her paw behind my neck. Okay, all right. If you haven't already, I would love for you to join my YouTube family. Hit that subscribe button before you leave. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you are looking for new dinner inspiration, I'll have some new recipes for you very soon. Thank y'all. See you next time. Bye. Bye.